First time I'm seeing this slide here. So hi everybody, I'm Doc Searls, and my connection to this really began over there, about a mile at the Berkman Center at Harvard, where I was a fellow for a while. And if you want to look me up, I'm old and I'm verbose, and I've written and said a lot of stuff, so you can find that. Um, what I want to talk about is My Terms. My Terms is a brand new standard that has absolute, gigantic, and profound implications for ODR. And it really begins in 1943. In 1943, Friedrich Kessler, then I think of the University of Chicago Law School, wrote in a landmark paper called Contracts of Adhesion, Some Thoughts About Freedom of Contract. And that was right at the height of the industrial age. Industry had basically started World War II. Industry was winning World War II. It could not have been a more potentiated moment in the history of humanity for what industry was going to do with us and for us. And he saw one of the casualties of industrialization was the loss of freedom of contract. He said freedom of contract really now only belonged to corporations, and it used to belong to human beings, and they were still there. They could do things on a peer-to-peer basis. But if you wanted to do anything with a corporation, you were going to agree to their contracts of adhesion. And a contract of adhesion is a one-way contract that's offered by the more powerful party, which is the corporation, of course. And that was the only way corporations could get scale. And he admitted this is unavoidable, and it was an artifact of living in the industrial age. And you're looking there, and I'm thinking, is that upstaging me? I don't know. But an interesting thing about Kessler is that he wrote this at a time that the internet was not yet there. He did live to 95. He lived long enough to see the internet. I don't know what he thought about it. But the main thing is that the idea behind a contract of adhesion is that one side adheres to it and the other side has the option to change it. Basically, it's glue for them, for you, and it's Velcro for them. So if we move forward to the birth of the internet, really started in the 1970s with TCP/IP. The important thing about TCP/IP is that it was essentially a peer-to-peer protocol. That's what the internet runs on. David Reed, David Clark, and Jerome Salzer here at MIT wrote their own landmark paper called End-to-End Arguments in System Design, which basically, that informed David Reed's own work on UDP, which is part of the Internet Protocol Suite. But the idea behind the end-to-end argument is that all of us are peers here, and the internet is built that way. And HTTP came along in 1989 with Tim Berners-Lee, also another peer-to-peer protocol. And then RSS, David Weiner came up with RSS. He was also a fellow for a while at the Berkman Center, and he stabilized RSS and got it out of an argument going on between him and others who had other approaches to RSS, really simple syndication, by giving it to the Berkman Center, saying it's done and it can sit here. The important thing about that is you know about RSS every time you hear this, wherever you get your podcasts. The RSS is what made that possible, because it had an element in it that said anybody could include a file of any kind they wanted. It could be syndicated to anybody, and anything that was willing to pick it up could do it. And so it freed anything that we produce as people from the control of any giant corporation. So in 2006, when I got the fellowship there, I was obliged to come up with a project, and I came up with one called Project VRM. I wasn't alone at this, as a way to give companies a hand to shake on the customer side. They don't have one. They basically have a hand to hammer with. They don't have a hand to shake. And that's because customer relationship management, which is really customer records management, it's like a many dozen billion-dollar business that is, companies like Salesforce and so forth are selling to companies. There wasn't anything on our side that could relate to that. And so somebody else came up with the name vendor relationship management. So that was VRM. And we had there the idea, already in the world there's something called Creative Commons, which gives any of us a much wider range of ways that we can do copyright. Before Creative Commons, there was all rights reserved. You didn't have much choice beyond that. But what Creative Commons did was said, here's about 5 or 6 rights, maybe 7, that I can use when I'm offering my my work for use by others. And in fact, I've made extraordinarily excessive use of it. I have over about 100,000 photos online. All of them are licensed to require attribution, and thousands of them are in Wikipedia. I may have produced more photos in Wikipedia than anybody because I put a lot of them out there. So I had some experience with that, like, wow, that's working. So why not come up with a way that any one of us can proffer terms? Why can't we have freedom of contract? We have the internet now. Why can't we proffer our own terms and have companies agree to those? We're always agreeing to theirs. Why shouldn't they agree to ours? Would ours be egregious? Probably not. We just want to be treated fairly, but we don't have that right. So let's get that right. So we created something called Customer Commons, as a title, a knockoff of Creative Commons. And the idea was that would be the place, like Creative Commons was, where a small roster of contracts would live, and users, word I don't really like, but I mean, people could point to one of those when they go from site to site or from service to service and say, I want that one. That's the one I'm going to use. And the first one we came up with was called No Stalking, and all it said was, go ahead and show me ads, just make sure they're not based on tracking me, which keeps the advertising business alive, but gives us the right not to be followed. So that was kind of an experimental one. But then in 2017, the Customer Commons, was approached by John Havens of the IEEE, a big standards organization, saying, how about making that a standard? And so we started work on that in 2017. And the title of it was IEEE 7012, a standard for machine-readable personal privacy terms. Because in the Creative Commons model, you have lawyer-readable, ordinary person-readable, and machine-readable. So let me tell you what it is. I mean, the whole thing is in the PAR, the proposal for the standard in the first place. And all it says is that person over here has an agent, could be as simple as a browser, that points to the term that they want, the contract that they want, the agreement that they want on this short roster at Customer Commons or some other place that's like it. Has to be a nonprofit that's disinterested. And says, I want that one. And the counterparty, which is the site or service, because they're listening for that signal coming from an individual, looks at that and says, oh, there's one we have called SD base, which means just give us your base services. So it's SD base. I'm good with that. I'm not in the advertising business anyway, or whatever the reason might be. They have an agent as well. Both of them agree to that in a machine-readable way. Are you ready to jump in? Oh, is that interfering with that?
No, that's fine.
Okay. I should do a thing like, I should wind down. Anyway. And both record an identical record. Doesn't say the whole contract has to be recorded, just has to be an identical record that allows auditing and dispute resolution. And that's where ODR comes in. So the whole idea behind this, in a way, is to bring freedom of contract back to the people, bring freedom of contract back to all of us. And in order to make that happen, we really need ODR to be involved. So that's basically it. And I'll hand it over to Zbynek. Thank you. Thank you.
So, thank you very much, Doc, and thank you very much to the organizers. I am really very happy to be here. I think it's a great, no, I think it's fine. No, I think it's fine. Okay, so maybe, yeah, well, maybe that would be perfect. Great, it would be better, but I do not have actually, well, you know, I do not have the, okay, perfect, great, yes. Okay, so that's great. Perfect, great, perfect. Okay, so great, thank you very much. So, uh, so thanks. I really appreciate very much the presentations, and I hope that I will continue after Doc with something interesting as well. And it's actually, I would also like to recommend you to read our article which we wrote together with Ian, our colleague and friend, and he could not come. And you will find our article in the conference materials on the Google Drive. And in the article, we describe concrete proposals for how the ODR procedures for my terms issues might look like. So it is, of course, the start. So we, in the end, we propose creating a working group. So for those of you who are interested, there is an email in the end of the article for me. Please send me an email, and we would be very happy to initiate the working group in the coming weeks. So basically, I will speak today about something slightly different than the concrete procedures. I will speak about the fundamental key aspect of my terms. And this is that there will be not only ODR platforms for institutions, but also agents, including platforms for people. So, and this is a fundamental change because it will enable also not just legal but also technological change in the balance of power. And of course, the platforms, we can call it virtual agent platforms. So they should be able to communicate with each other, should accept services, including AI services, independently on each other, and also provide AI services. So, and I would illustrate it on two case studies. So the first case study is really about how to design such a platform. Let's call it VAP for an ODR institution. And let's imagine that I am a designer. I would like to design a platform for my terms issues because it is an increasingly popular issue, popular topic. And of course, I am in the beginning, so I want to have the platform quickly, but basically almost without any cost. So how can I do it? And I will do it. So my starting point would be really to use an open ODR standard, which I call open ODR model. This is a work for a few years. I have been starting the work by myself, but then I have been joined by a few other people. And really, the open ODR model is an open standard which enables to describe any ODR process and their parts, sub-processes, forms, parts of the forms, up to the data elements. And the open model assumes that there will be ODR platforms, not just for ODR institutions and vendors or large vendors, but also for individuals. And basically the method, it's really a method, a logical system. And the method of describing ODR processes is simple, it's numbering. So the OpenODR model contains the numbering and also numbering conventions. The numbering is a combination of hierarchy levels and number positions within each of the hierarchy level. The hierarchy levels start from the top, general information. They go through some design questions, design options, etc., up to the data elements. Of course, and there are also number positions within each of the hierarchy level. For example, L21 is a number of position of an ODR process, or L41 is a number position of a form. It's of course the numbering needs to be very flexible, because as we know there are the ODR platforms and processes are in constant change. There will be multiple new disputes coming, etc. So, and it's quite interesting that we realized that in order to enable the flexibility, we must have at least something fixed. So there will be, so that we can compare with it. So there will be our fixed moment will be something which we call initial ODR numbering, or ION. And then we predict that we assume that there will also be something like official ODR numbering, or 2ON, which will provide like proven or certified updates to the OpenODR model. Of course, the processes have some important characteristics. Just to give you an example, the ODR platforms will probably in majority cases provide some disclosures about themselves. So what procedures they have, what are basically what number of panelists you can select, things like that. Or there can be very important will be ethical considerations, ethical recommendations, and these we call annotations, and they are also dealt with in the model. There is a specific numbering for automatized exchanges of data among platforms, and of course the important parts are the numbering of the changes and the numbering conventions. So there is an Annex 1 to the OpenODR model, and Annex 1 really contains the initial ODR numbering. We are at the moment at something like 55% of the initial ODR numbering, and we are moving. We hope to start first pilot projects in the autumn of this year. So, and basically what is important is that Annex 1 really enables us, even with this 55%, to start developing new ODR tools, something which has not been done yet. And actually, the tools really will enable everybody to write their own platform. And I would like you to experience soon how the feeling of being able to write your own platform, even without developers. So the complex of these new tools I call ODR machine, and it is really a generator of ODR platforms for institutions and for people. So first today I will just open the door to you to these tools, to these new tools, and this is really a work in progress. So it does not look very nice, but so far it has been working, at least on this technology level. So this is not what I will show you, is not how it will look like when it is a finished product, but something in between. So basically the first of such tool is ODR Modeller. And ODR Modeller really operationalizes the open ODR model and Annex 1. So it includes so this screenshot just shows the principal hierarchy levels. For us, an important level is C1, which is VAP for an ODR institution. So it is for our case study. And if we break down this VAP, we will get to the next hierarchy level, and the importance are ODR features and ODR processes. There are few more, but I will not bother you with it. Now you have the presentation available in your conference materials. So if we go to the features, we will get many of the features which are present in many of the ODR platforms. And we got to this list also through an EU-sponsored project, which is called Scheme, and it was finalized in 2024. And of course, these are just a limited number of features. There will be features to add. Also, some features are conditioned by others. So this is all possible to easily tackle in the open ODR model. So if we get one of the features, so let's say ODR fees, we can get to several options which are possible from which the designer can select. So payment in advance, payment afterwards, who pays, etc. And of course, then we will go to the ODR processes, where it is possible, where it will be step by step possible, as Ayala Tsela mentioned, to select different processes for different types of disputes for different situations. So some of the features will not be available directly from the ODR machine, but it will be possible to get them in the ODR marketplace, either for a fee or for free, similarly as in e-commerce situations. And it will be also an opportunity for ODR developers and the designers to design specific features, etc., and sell them on the ODR marketplace. So then basically, when we have the processes and features, we go to ODR forms. And the ODR forms can be textual, but they can be non-textual. They can be in graphical form or in voice mode, etc. And for that, this we can do also in the ODR modeler. I will just quickly show you how this is like very rough working version of a complaint form for my terms issues. And you can add new issues, do completely new structures, do whatever you want, edit the text, and so on. And all will be numbered and versioned in your ODR modeler. But then actually the forms needs to be dressed up, and for that we use different tools than ODR modeler. At the moment it's a separate tool, and we call it ODR editor. And it really resembles like smart editor, smart word processor. So you can add colors, you can add pictograms, branding, voice, but you can do much more because there will be some plugins available, etc. So again, for details, I refer to conference materials where you have all the presentation. And then there will be a magical moment where basically there will be just one click, ODR translator click. And by doing that, you will get an ODR platform in executable form. At the moment, it will be in BPMN for the first versions, but there is no reason why it could not be in Python, for example, or in other programming, standard programming languages. of course, you must add database and communication module. So, and that's it, and you will have full-fledged ODR platform, which you write. So, in addition to that, to the platform, you will get a digital twin of the platform. The digital twin can be an assembly of the numbers, of the numbering, or it can be in a graphical form. So the digital twin will be important for you, because when you want to change the platform, and we all in this room, I know very well that how it can be painful, costly, and so on. So here, basically, you just upload the digital twin in the ODR modeler, and you go through the changes you want to do, and the process which I showed you, and you will get a new platform, updated platform, which will be numbered and versioned in comparison with the first one. So this is a first case study. But I also have a second case study for you, and it will just take few minutes. So sorry for a little bit more time. And this is just that now in the case study 2, I will look at the process from the point of view of an individual, of me as an individual. So imagine that I am an individual person, Zbynek, and I would like to use the platform which I just designed in case study 1, but unfortunately I have some disabilities, some basically some disadvantages in the digital world. So I simply cannot fill in for some reasons the complaint form, which I can access through my VAP, through my personal VAP, on the platform of the ODR provider for my terms issues, or let's say for consumer issues. So what shall I do? As I said, the open ODR model contains also features of my VAP and ODR process for VAP, etc. These features are different than the features of the VAP for an ODR institution. They focus on access to justice, on preventive tools, but preventive measures, and also they enable me to have my own personal ODR forms in my VAP. So let's say that I have here, this is a complaint form, not for my terms issues, but here for consumer issues, because I just showed you the complaint form for my terms issues. It's a rough version before, so this is again a very rough version of a complaint form for consumer issues. So, and this is a complaint form in my personal VAP. I can structure it using ODR modeler. I can dress it up using ODR editor. But also I can first assess my abilities and disabilities, perhaps with the help of AI, and get recommendation for the best digital for me, digital tool for me to use, for example, a screen reader or something like that. So, and this may change the access to justice, because basically using the ODR editor. So an individual user of ODR editor will first self-assess herself regarding her needs or vulnerabilities, and also her preferences. Maybe, hopefully, we believe with the help of AI. Then the VAP will recommend to the user an appropriate plugin, for example, a screen reader. We believe that actually, based on our preliminary consultations, we believe that producers of tools assisting vulnerable persons will be willing to make their plugins available to the users of ODR editor, because the plugins will enable them to reach many new customers. This is a similar analogy as in e-commerce environment. And the plugin will either be part of the ODR editor or will be accessible from the ODR marketplace. So the user will use the plugin and will prepare the ODR form, not the ODR form of the ODR institution or vendor, but the ODR form in its own VAP, in her own VAP. will prepare it, file it, and the ODR institution or vendor will receive it and can treat it in the same way as if the user uses their own forms. So just to this is just a screenshot of a case file of an ODR institution. So which basically really gets the platform, the complaint form you sent from filed from the person VAP. So this all of this is does not need AI, but we believe that AI can help very strongly in this respect, and that there is a room for new AI based services which help individual persons in their access to justice and also maybe in other aspects and something new. So, for example, these self-assessments or basically the generation of personalized VAP platforms for individuals based on the assessments, or the personal solution explorers. This is what Ayelet and others spoke before ourselves. There can be smart vendor reputation indexes whereby the individuals voluntarily can share anonymized data about the vendors to train the AI. And for the my terms issues, it will be excellent to monitor potential breaches and to secure evidence. And in all that, AI can be instrumental. AI can also be used for the new governance, which will be necessary around this open ODR model. For example, it can monitor the disclosures made by ODR platforms for features which are repetitive. And the AI can propose that for the new versions of the 2ON or official ODR numbering. So I guess this is all from me for today. Thank you for your attention.